In this specific video series, you're going to learn how to use Facebook Timeline for your business. Now, as you know, since March 30th, Facebook has converted all of their pages, including their fan pages, to the Facebook Timeline layout. So you need to know how it works and how you can effectively maximize it for your business in order to get traffic to your site. So Facebook Timeline is all about branding your business and showing off its personality and its history. So going back to a basic definition of timeline, timelines are visual tools to organize and for studying the history of a topic, of a business, of anything, during a period of time, such as a day, a year, a decade, a century, a lifetime. So in relation to your business, if you can imagine, the Facebook timeline encompasses the life of your business from when it started to when you made product launches happen, when you had successes, and when it grew and things like that. So that's what this is all about. It's all about branding you and showing people what you're all about. It's really a new advance in technology because you can see over time that when Facebook released their fan pages, they were basically landing pages that stored content. You really didn't have a lot of organization. It was really hard to find stuff. So every time you would release stuff, eventually it would disappear on the bottom. So we're moving from landing pages that purely store content to an experience that people can relate to. It's all about the experience. So we're going from the old Facebook landing pages where we could entice people to like our pages. We could set up squeeze pages to force people to like our Facebook fan page. And as we added content, it was very unorganized and hard to find. Gone are these days. Now we've got Facebook timeline pages. You can brand your company. You can focus more on having it sell itself versus you're trying to get people to do call to actions, promote your business, and so forth. And Facebook really doesn't like businesses utilizing their technology to do too much promotions. They actually believe that every company, just like every person, has some sort of personality. So if people can relate to your business and they can see that you're passionate about what they're passionate about, then guess what? They're going to want to be a part of your business. And that's the way that we're heading. And if you can understand it in that way, then it'll be a lot easier for you to really utilize this technology to your benefit. So do it right, which is the key, and use Facebook's system to correctly get traffic to your business. And really that's what it really comes down to, is you utilizing their system the right way. Now here's just a quick overview of this video series as a whole, so you understand what we're going to talk about and you understand how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. And I guarantee you, once you understand this, you'll be able to put everything together fairly quickly. So this is video number 1. Video number 2, we're going to talk about brainstorming your brand's personality. So we're going to figure out, what is your audience? Who is your audience? What is your brand about? How can your brand relate to the audience? And video number 2 is going to help you gather all this information so that you can use it to create your own Facebook timeline. In video number 3, we're going to talk about the timeline anatomy. I'm going to go step by step, and we're going to use an example and show you cover image, profile picture, about me section, and so forth and so forth. So you have an idea of how the inner workings work and how you can utilize it effectively. Video number 4, we're going to dig deep. We're going to begin to create your Facebook timeline. So we're going to create a cover page in video number 4. We're going to create a profile pic in video number 5. We're going to, I'm going to show you how to use the messaging feature in video number 6, which allows you to communicate with those people, your fans of your page, which is great because you weren't able to do that previously. And video number 7, we're going to talk about the About section. While it does seem fairly simple, there are some things that we need to cover to make sure that you can use it effectively, because there's a lot of do's and don'ts with Facebook's new rules. Video number 8, we're going to talk about the Apps section. How do you use the Apps section correctly to really boost your brand? And video number 9, we're going to talk about pinning your posts. Which posts should you pin, and how to create posts, and so forth. And we're also going to talk about EdgeRank in terms of posts and so forth. Video number 10, we're going to talk about milestones. If you're not familiar with milestones, they're milestones. Basically, events in the history of a company. And the beauty of Facebook Timeline is, let's say that you started your page last year. Even though it started last year, you can add milestones that will date all the way back to the 1800s. So if you have, let's say, for example, a company like Coca-Cola, it started back in the days, and you can go all the way back so that when somebody goes to your site, they can learn more about your history, when you started, why you started, what your vision was, who your founding people were, and so forth. Here are just a couple things you need. You need a Facebook account. Obviously, you need internet. And you also need a graphics editor, or you need getpaint.net. We're going to use this to create our cover page and our profile pic. This is how it all works. It's pretty simple. Once you know how Facebook Timeline works, you can spy on companies that are doing well, spy on companies that are not doing well, so you figure out what they're doing right and what they're not doing right. And you create your own timeline and you attack it. That's pretty much how it is, and that's what we're going to go through in this video series. So in the next video, let's talk about brainstorming so we can gather all the information that we need to create your Facebook timeline. Hi, and welcome to video number 2. We're going to be talking about how you can brainstorm your brand's personality. So the purpose of this exercise is to help you brainstorm information about your Facebook timeline so that you can create it quickly and easily. So the first question is, who is your audience? And as we go through these questions, I want you to think, all right, what kind of product are you going to promote? I know some of you have several businesses, but which business, or out of all these businesses, which business do you want to use Facebook Timeline on? And with that specific business, who is your audience? What kind of audience are you trying to reach? Demographics wise, their likes, their dislikes, their wants, desires, what keeps them up at night? What do they look like? Demographics, put a name to a face so it's easier for you to visualize who your audience is. And if you know somebody, know a customer, think about them. What captures their attention? What makes them think? What kind of questions make them act and think? And then now I want you to think about your company as a brand, because when you're using Facebook timelines, you can't market your product too directly. You have to do it in a certain way where people find interest in your brand. So what is your brand all about? Think about, why did you start your company? Why did you start your company? To convey something, you're passionate about something. What is your brand trying to convey? What is it trying to tell your customer? Why are you different than your other competitors? Is it because you have good customer service, or this and that? So what is your brand? What captures your audience's attention? What kind of images, what kind of videos, what kind of audios or content can you produce that your audience would really like? What is your vision? What was your vision? What is your personality? Are you trying to be a business that's using laughter, it's funny and this and that? Or is your business personality really just serious? Is it controversial? And you're trying to create arguments, debates about a certain topic so that you can get, more eyes on your site and so forth? What is your personality? Because the reason why I'm trying to get you to think this way is because when you create your Facebook timeline, if you're trying to be a funny guy and sticking funny girl, funny lady, or funny man, woman, and you want to convey that, then the posts that you make need to all be somewhat funny, but yet sometimes serious, and so forth. Or are you trying to be controversial and create controversy? People comment on your thing because they just don't like you, or they do like you, and they eventually might like you, and stuff like that. So that's something you need to have in the back of your head, so that when you begin to create that Facebook timeline, it's just easier. And just some questions, that come to mind to help you in the process of creating that Facebook timeline. Do you have a logo? If you don't have a logo, you might need a logo, because you're going to create your cover page and profile pic and so forth. What kind of milestones or achievements has your company made? And you can pause this right now and jot down those thoughts as they come to you. What kind of achievements? When you started your company, and maybe a month later you impacted so many lives, or your company helped a charity, or helped kids across the world or something. What kind of milestones or achievements? Facebook timeline is organized in such a way that you can put your milestones and achievements over history. I mean, as long as it's dated before or after 1800s, you're okay. What do your customers want? What are some tips, some tricks, some advice that your customer would be willing to pay for? Now, these two questions I'm asking you because this is kind of giving you in the mindset of, okay, what kind of content can I create that my customers have paid for recently? What kind of content can I create and post it on Facebook to attract more people who find value and say, oh, you're giving tricks and advice that I would normally pay for. And the law of reciprocation, they feel compelled to eventually buy your product. So there's a lot of indirect selling going on. What kind of contests would your customers participate in? And what kind of prizes would they want? So those are the basic questions that I want you to answer. Feel free to pause this, jot some thoughts down. In the next video, and video number 3, we're going to talk about the timeline anatomy. And then right after that, we're going to dig deeper, and I'm going to show you how to create a Facebook timeline effectively. Hey, and welcome to video number 3. We're going to be talking about the Timeline Anatomy 101, just so you can understand how Facebook Timeline works, so you can get an idea of how yours should look like as well. So we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to follow companies that are doing well, who invest millions into marketing. And as we go along, you're going to be able to see a pattern here, and you're going to be seeing a pattern and what successful companies are doing and how you can follow this pattern and implement it in your own Facebook timeline. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk about is the cover image. So in this example, we're going to use Coca-Cola, and as you can see here, the cover image, this image takes up most of the prime virtual real estate at the very top. So you want to make sure that you choose the right cover image. And I'll talk more about that and strategies and so forth in the future videos. Now, this spot here is the profile pics. So you want to make sure that you choose a cover image and realize that this spot here is going to be covered by the profile pic. Now, there are several things that you can and cannot do, and one of the things that you cannot do with these cover images is you cannot contain call to actions or any type of promotional material. Now, there is a way around this, and there are some things that you can do, and we'll talk more about that in the future videos. This is the profile pic, and as you can see here, Coca-Cola has put the profile pic over here where this white box is, and the profile pic you can include just about anything, but there will be certain things that you want to include. You'll notice here with Coca-Cola that they included the Coca-Cola end product. This is the messaging feature. The messaging feature is great. What this messaging feature is all about is this. If you create a Facebook timeline, and let's say you're, for example, Coca-Cola, in this example, if I want to contact and send feedback to Coca-Cola, I can actually do that simply by clicking the message link and clicking on the send feedback right here. So this definitely takes it one step further and allows you to communicate with your fans and communicate customer support and this and that. But the only thing is you can message the owner of the page. However, the owner of the page cannot message back unless a fan contacts the owner. So in other words, the owner cannot build their page super fast and just start contacting everybody. The owner must be contacted first. This is the About section, and this is located in the top left area right below the profile pic and the cover image. And as you can see, this area is very, very small, but you want to make sure that you include a quality post. Now, the About section, as you can see here, is definitely prime real estate as well in terms of text. And there's stuff that we're going to talk about, the things that you can and cannot do and what you should do. This is the custom icons for third-party apps, and there's some tips that I'm going to share with you, but this thing is located right in the middle to the right under the cover image. Right under that section is friends who like the page. Now this adds some social proof. In this example, I go to Coca-Cola and I can see that 8 friends are fans of Coca-Cola. So that tells me, hey, you know, I got 8 friends that are part of Coca-Cola. Why not join as well? So that kind of adds a social proof and allows you to sell yourself indirectly. Pinning a post is normally what happens is you get a post. Now you don't want to pin just about any post. You want to pin a quality post because you don't want to affect your edge rank. And we're going to talk more about that later on. But basically, if you pin a post, that post will be valid for 7 days, and it will appear on the top of your posts. And of course, last but not least, we have milestones. Milestones are basically dates of events and things that happen in the history of your lifetime or your business. And milestones, in this case, enable your fans to find more information about you as a business or as a company or person. And you can go all the way back to the 1800s, and as you can see here with the Coca-Cola, January 27th, 1893, you can see the milestones here. So that concludes the end of the anatomy of a Facebook timeline. Now you understand it, you can tackle it at a much more easier way. Hey, and welcome to video number 4. We're going to talk about how to create your cover image. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the cover image is a big virtual real estate space. So you need to make sure that you choose the correct cover image and you do it in a way that you can really brand your company. Simply because the cover image is the first thing that people are going to see when they visit your Facebook timeline. So you definitely want to get it right. Now, before I talk about strategies and tips that you can use for your cover image, you need to understand that the cover image has to be the exact size in order for it to look right. So that size is 851 pixels wide by 315 pixels height. The image cannot contain call to action or any type of promotional material. Remember, Facebook does not like businesses using their system to promote their business way too much. The way you want to tackle this is by doing certain things. For example, the cover image should be related to what the customer wants. If you can show your customer what your business is all about, you really don't have to do a whole lot of selling. You just have to appeal to their senses. If you can appeal to their senses and you know what your customer wants, you can really relate to them. So the cover image should relate to what your customers want and will consume through their senses or through their brain. Another tip is to try to stick with colors that are related to your logo so that your brand sticks in their minds. So anytime somebody sees your logo or your colors, in their subconscious, they are reminded of your company. Like when I think of Brown or UPS, I think of brown. I think of Coca-Cola, I think of red. I think of Facebook, I think of dark blue, Then here's the key. Because you cannot add any type of promotional material, you can, however, add the URL somewhere in there as a watermark or in the logo. So the first thing that you need to do is download a graphics editor, and in this case I'm going to recommend paint.net. So if you go to google.com, as you can see here, and type in paint.net, the site is at getpaint.net, not paint.net, but getpaint.net. So go ahead and click on the download link here. Go ahead and download the software, install it, and open it up, because that's the software that we're going to be using in this case. Now, if you do have a Macintosh or anything else, then you will need to download a different graphics editor. It doesn't really matter what graphics editor you use, as long as it's, you can do a few things more than regular Paint that comes with Windows. So go ahead and do that. So we're going to use that. Right now I've got paint.net open up on my computer, as you can see here. And what I need to do is go ahead, open it up, click on File, New, and in this case I want it to be 851 width, remember. So it's 851, and then height 315. So it needs to be 851 pixels height or width and then 315 height. Go ahead and click on OK, and we've got this here. Now what you need to do is find an image that either your logo, or find an image on bigstockphoto.com that relates to your product. So as you can see here, I am at bigstockphoto.com, and all I need to do is download an image that relates to my product. Now, the best thing that you can do is find the end product. Make sure that the cover image shows your brand colors. So let's say, for example, that you are a realtor. You'll probably want to make sure that you type in real estate, houses, and find a picture that you like and best describes you, the personality of your business, and your brand. So if you don't, in other words, if you don't have a picture that necessarily is your logo, then you can find pictures that are similar color and purchase those pictures. It doesn't have to be just one picture. In fact, you could have 3 pictures, just like the Coca-Cola example where they had 3 different pictures, all different pictures that had a little bit of red inside it, and bundle them together to create your cover image. So bigstockphoto.com is a great place to go, and I'd highly recommend that you go there. Now in this example, I have some images of my own. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, go back to paint.net, and what I want to do is I want to import those images into here. So what I need to do is I need to go to my computer, my file manager, go to the C drive, and let's say, for example, that my business is a video production business, or a film or something. Okay, so what I would normally do is I would find the pictures, I would highlight the pictures, and to highlight them on a Windows computer, you would basically select a picture, click on Control, and then select Control again. What I would do is I would drag and drop it into the image and click on Open. We're not going to do add layers, we're going to click on Open each individual image. So at the top here you see these 3 images, plus you see this image here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is simply edit, select all, and I'm going to cut it or copy it. I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to move back to this empty cover image, click on edit and paste, and then I'm going to click on keep canvas size. And basically what I want to do is just minimize this picture so that it becomes a part of the big picture. And you see these handlebars, these little circles and squares, they allow you to expand the picture. In fact, I could just put 2 pictures in here if I want to. So let's say, for example, that I want this picture as well. So I go back over here, click on edit, select all, edit, copy. I go back over to this cover image, click on edit, paste, into new layer, keep canvas size, and just minimize it. Keep minimizing it, and there we go. We can also put this guy here, click on edit, select all, edit, copy, go back to the cover image, click on edit, paste, click on keep canvas size, and minimize this. Keep minimizing it. Okay, so before we continue, I'm going to click on this tool and click on here. Click on text tool, and let's say we're going to put the URL here. And of course you can move it around by clicking this arrows here. and you can put yourdomain.com at the bottom, and you can color it in, do whatever you want. But creating a cover image is not hard, and I don't want to be judged by this. Then I'll need to change it and hire somebody else. But if you want to create your own cover image, that's how you can create your own cover image, by taking a couple images and putting it all together and making it into one big cover image. Hey, and welcome to video number 5. We're going to talk about the profile pic, which is a fairly quick and easy portion of the Facebook timeline. So I just want to run through fairly quickly here, but I want to also give you some tips and tricks. The bottom left image below the cover image is the profile pic. The tip is to aim for a 180 by 180 pixel size, because what's going to happen is Facebook is going to show it at a 32 by 32 pixel. The rule of thumb is if you go from a larger picture and it decreases to a smaller picture, then what happens is it retains the quality. But if you go from a smaller picture shown as a larger picture and you make it bigger, then it creates that fuzziness. You know how you've seen videos and images that have that fuzzy quality? That's why. So you definitely want to aim for a larger number. So we're going to create a 180 by 180 picture. Now the profile pic is fairly small, so you definitely want to utilize this space as much as possible. Now what you want to do is you want to choose a profile pic that shows your logo, your product, or you. So what is it? If the cover image does not show your logo, then you definitely want to show your logo. If your cover image shows your logo and a couple other images, you may want to show your end product. Like for example, in the Coca-Cola sample, the cover image had a happy person holding, Coca-Cola products, but the profile pic itself appealed to the senses and showed the end product. So you can do that, or you can choose a profile pic that describes your product or service, basically what people want or desire out of your product. What are their fears and so forth. And people should be able to see this clearly. That's why we want to start from a big one to a small picture. So let's hop on over to paint.net, which is a program at getpaint.net. Okay, so in the previous video I showed you where to get paint.net. And like I said earlier, with Macintosh users, there's a lot of free software out there, graphics editors that you can use. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is hop on over to bigstockphoto.com or any other royalty-free site and find an image that best describes your company or the end product. Let's say, for example, that you are a restaurant and you sell salads. So in this case, we're going to go to bigstockphoto.com and find a royalty-free image that best describes a salad. So pick and choose that, go ahead and download that. And once you download the image, you need to simply choose the image. Now in this case, I'm not going to use salad, I'm just going to choose a picture. And if you go back here, all you need to do is click on File, New. Make sure that the pixel width is 180, the pixel height is 180. Click on OK. So we need to make sure that this is the size here, and all you need to do is simply exactly what we did earlier. If we drag and drop this over here, click on Open, click on Edit, select all, Edit Copy, Edit Paste, and keep canvas size. And of course we're going to need to minimize this so it looks like this, and that's it. And of course don't forget to save it and then upload this file as the profile pic. Hey, and welcome to video number 6. We're going to talk about the messaging feature that is part of the Facebook timeline. This is the messaging feature. Now we're using Coca-Cola again as in the example, and if you go to the Coca-Cola page and up at the top you'll click on the link and it allows you to send feedback and messages to Coca-Cola. Now this is a great feature because it definitely enables you to deepen a relationship with your fans. So let me go through the advantages and the disadvantages here. So the advantages is it allows you to develop deeper relationships with your fans. And this is a great way to offer private customer service. So if somebody wants to contact you through Facebook, instead of whining about it in the public forums or the public page, which is probably not great, you can have them contact you and private message you and settle everything behind the scenes. And like I said, you can move a difficult discussion from the public to a private. Now the disadvantages, however, is that you can message a fan only if they contact you. So they have to contact you once and you can contact them twice after that. However, after the second time, you can't contact them unless they contact you again. So the power really is to the fans. And Facebook, as you know, they're trying to give a great experience for the fans. And then, like I said earlier, if a fan messages you, you can only message them twice. Now the problem is that you can get overloaded with private messages. So if you're not ready to handle them, then that can be an issue. However, this functionality is available to everybody. Yes, even your haters, even spammers, and non-fans as of now. Now Facebook can change that later on. However, that's one of the disadvantages at the moment. So if you can't handle the support and you don't want to take time to handle the support, while that can, help increase your profits, if you can't handle the support, then obviously you probably want to remove that button. Because if people start contacting you and they're interested in your product and they want to purchase your product and they don't get answers from you, you're going to lose a prospective customer or a current customer. So in order to remove that button, basically if you go to facebook.com and in your administrative dashboard area, if you go to the top of the page, click on Edit Page, and you're going to see this if you own the page. Select Manage Permissions, and then look for the area. There's going to be a box checked automatically by default, but you're going to look for a box that says people can send messages to your page name. So if your page name is, Pop and Lock Dance Group or Pop and Lock Video Productions, it'll say people can send messages to Pop and Lock Video Productions, and you want to make sure you uncheck that if you cannot handle support. However, like I said earlier, you're going to be losing out on a lot of potential business, but at the same time you're going to be getting spam and haters as well. But I know Facebook will probably fix that issue in the long run. However, if you want to outsource the social media support and you want to jump on so that you can scale your business and increase it, then you'll want to check out Odesk.com. Get people to do work for you for $3 an hour. I know that sounds like a ripoff. However, at the same time, Odesk.com, you can find people in the Philippines and elsewhere who are willing to work for $3 an hour. And guess what? A lot of people in the Philippines, they know how to speak English because, that's one of the main languages is English. So even so, you definitely want to test them out, probably give them, ask them to write an article or something so that you can test them out, and or see if you can test their customer support skills, and then just hire them and go from there. And that way you can scale your business. Hi, and welcome to video number 7. We're going to talk about the About section. This is prime virtual real estate as well, so make sure that you use it wisely. That about section, the initial section, is about 155 characters in length. Therefore, it's got to grab the viewer's attention quickly. And if you include a link, which you can include opt-in pages, links to opt-in pages, links to your websites, and links to other sites. So make sure you use this area wisely. If you do include a link, make sure that you add a http:// before it in order to make it into a link. Now, if the URL is too long, then you might want to use a tinyURL or bit.ly service, which basically takes a long URL and shortens it. I like bit.ly because it tracks the links, it tracks your hits and everything like that, so you can see your statistics. Now, this is an example of Facebook. And as you can see with Facebook, they have directed people to their media sources here and their investor relations here. So obviously they are using it to promote in this space. And if you notice, the cover image is blue, as well as the profile pic, as well as the apps. So there is a lot of branding going on here. This about area must be brief. You can write a little more, but only a few lines are going to show up on the front page. So you want to make sure that that area is brief. Now here's some tips. Try to avoid talking about yourself. I know it's got to be hard, but it's easy to talk about yourself. And it's hard not to talk about yourself. But guess what? Most people don't care about you talking about yourself. They care how your product impacts them. So try to avoid talking about yourself too much. However, in the initial part, you probably want to be as brief as possible. So relate to the buyer or the prospect and how they impact you. Let me give you an example here. Coca-Cola. Their About section says, the Coca-Cola Facebook page is a collection of your stories showing how people from around the world have helped make Coke into what it is today. So when somebody reads that, they feel, wow, you know, I'm a buyer and we've made what Coke is today. And you see how Coca-Cola geared that towards the reader? They did not say Coca-Cola is big because we make lots of Coke. They said we're big because of you. And you guess what? The people who are fans of Coca-Cola, they're going to read more because it's about them. So what you can do is you can add a link to your website, to an opt-in page, to a contest, and so forth. Make sure that you utilize this area very well. Let me give you some tips. If you're an offline business with a physical location, fill in your website and other information not shown on your page. On your page you might have, your address and this and that, but you might not be able to show every single thing. So make sure you utilize this area as much as possible. Now if you're an online business, point people to something valuable like a freebie, a free contest, a free report, or a free product that they can grab so that it entices them to get your free report and you get their information so that you can contact them later on. Hey, and welcome to video number 8. We're going to be talking about the apps section. Now, this is a really cool video because you get to see a pattern here, and once you see this pattern, you're going to see exactly what you need to be doing in your apps section of your Facebook timeline. So the key here is to brand logo colors in your app section, and you're going to see what I mean in just a minute. What we're trying to do is brand the cover image, the profile pic, and every other image within that area into the person's subconscious. If you can do that with your logo colors, then you've got a successful product in terms of branding sake. And most people don't brand, and that's something that they forget about. So the tip is to try to reflect your brand's color scheme. And in this case, in the app section, this is a wonderful opportunity to do that. You can choose app images that follow this pattern. So let me go through and show you some patterns here, and you're going to see how easy this is. You'll notice that on Facebook, photos, likes, everything like that, it's a dark blue color in each image. So you can actually upload this specific image here, and here, and here, and here. Let's look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, you'll notice that they are sticking with the red color in each of these images. Now obviously you can't change the likes image, however you can change the app's image for photos, home, and other apps sections. So they are embedding the color red and white, red and white, red and white, as the Coca-Cola color. Subway, Eat Fresh. You see that their colors are green, yellow, and white. So you'll notice that the photos here are green and white, and then yellow grass, yellow, green, white, yellow, green, white. So you definitely want to use the apps section to utilize the color scheme. McDonald's. Look at the color scheme. You can't choose the likes, change the likes, but you can change the other images, as you can see here. So you see the pattern? Now you see the pattern, now you can see that that's exactly what you need to do. So remember, choose apps that follow your logo color so your colors get branded into the customer's subconscious. Hi, and welcome to video number 9. We're going to be talking about pinning posts in the Facebook timeline. So pinning a post is very easy to do. All you need to do is create a post and then click on the top right hand corner of that post and then click pin to top. Now before you pin a post, you want to make sure that the post that you're about to pin follow these guidelines, because there are certain things involved that you want to make sure that you follow before you actually post, pin a post. So pinning a post, it allows you to pin a feature update. You can, for example, do a product launch and pin that. You can pin a product update, and then any type of post that you pin will stay up on the top of your Facebook timeline for about 7 days. So you obviously want to make sure that whatever post that you pin up there is something of value and is something that will get a lot of likes and comments. You don't want to pin up just about any post, because it can hurt your Facebook EdgeRank, which is the algorithm which Facebook uses to, take your post and put it on other people's walls. So I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So think before you post. What I want to do now is give you examples of posts that you should focus on, and try to stick with these because these tend to get higher clicks or likes and comments. Whether you're an offline business or an online business, testimonials from other customers is social proof. So if you can get a testimonial from another customer and post it and then pin it, then you can really find people who are on the fence about buying your product or service, or picking up that phone call or taking some sort of call to action, and are reluctant to doing so. But when they see that testimonial that talks directly to them, then you have yourself a closing deal. Another thing you can do is pin an engaging video or a picture or a contest an offer, or something of value. Anytime you pin a post, think before you pin it and think, okay, what kind of value am I providing? Is this something of funny, or is it showing your personality? You know, is it engaging enough that people will want to like it and comment on it? So never just put up a regular post on the top. Make sure that you post something of value. And examples include, let's say for example that you're a fan of a store, or an accountant, a tax accountant Facebook page timeline, and they put a tip up there during tax season that helps you file or helps you save some money and so forth, that you would regularly pay a CPA to answer those questions. Well, guess what? If you post a question, a question that people have problems with in terms of their taxes, in terms of their business, and so forth, and you hit the nail on the head, and people are thinking the same thing, then guess what? People are going to respond. Questions are really good because you get responses. A question that leaves something that people have to answer, it's an unanswered question, then that really opens up the conversation and creates more likes, creates more comments, and engages your community that you're creating to communicate with each other. So that's kind of what your goal is. If it's just a post that really cannot generate a lot of likes and comments, do not post, or do not put the post up and pin it. You can put the post up possibly, but you don't want to pin it. So pinning is basically like emailing your lists. So email them of something of value. So never put out a regular post on the top. I briefly touched base on this. Remember, Facebook EdgeRank is the algorithm that Facebook uses to rank how your posts appear on other people's pages. And the average life of a post on Facebook is about 4 hours. So you want to make sure that you utilize those hours and really take the time to get as many likes and many comments as you can. So if you pin posts that are not going to get a whole lot of likes and comments, then say goodbye to your EdgeRank. EdgeRank, like I said, it's the algorithm to ranking your posts and seeing whether it shows up in people's feeds. EdgeRank is sort of similar to Google's algorithm in terms of ranking, search engine, websites and things like that. Facebook's algorithm in this case is EdgeRank, which in terms of ranking. So no one really exactly knows what the EdgeRank entails, but you know what Facebook's goal is, which is to provide a good experience and quality experience. Now, how do you know if a post has a good experience? That is, if some posts get a lot of shares, they get a lot of likes, they get a lot of comments. So that tells Facebook, hey, this specific post is being recommended by a lot of people. It must be famous. Now, obviously, there are ways to game the system and spam the system, and gain it so that you can get a lot of likes and comments. But I'm sure Facebook has a lot of things in their algorithm to detect that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure you do everything ethically and naturally. So make sure you think before you post. Here's some recommendations. Post a question or something thought-provoking. I know I talked about questions earlier, but thought-provoking, don't just post a question. Post some question that is thought-provoking. Something that people can relate to. In other words, unless somebody can relate to your posts, they most likely will not like or comment on it. So keep that in mind. And you see this even in your friend pages or your personal pages. You'll notice that every time you make a post or comment or status update, most people don't comment on it unless they're really your close friends. But if you start posting like motivational quotes or questions or something thought provoking that impacts them, that impacts in their daily lives, that they can relate to, that they're dealing with, that's a problem that they're facing, and this and that, then guess what? You're going to get a lot of likes and comments on it. So put something thought provoking. Make sure you think before you post. It's kind of like the saying, make sure you think before you speak. So if people feel passionate about what you're posting, they will respond. Another recommendation is this, and I've found this to work fairly well, is to create a viral video about your product. And as you know, and as you can see, I am a fan of Fiverr.com. Fiverr.com, you pay somebody $5, they're going to do something for you. And you know, under the video section, a lot of times you'll find people who are willing to do stuff like scream loudly and hold your website, hold a short message, your company name, your slogan, and so forth, and get people to do this for $5. So create a viral video on your product. Make sure that it's funny. Make sure that it follows the guidelines we talked about. Could be controversial, could be a thought-provoking question, but make sure that the audience that you are creating this for is really your audience. So in other words, make sure you know your audience, the demographics. Are they, really teenagers, or are they college students, or are they graduates, are they a certain age group, and do they have kids, or if they have kids, maybe get a kid of a certain age who's saying something to your audience, and so forth. So you need to really be creative here and think about who your audience is before you create any type of video, viral video or viral post. Your audience is key. I know a lot of times people will just go ahead and start talking about their products and services, not realizing who their audience is. And if you know the demographics of your audience and how they think and how they tick, then guess what? It'll make life a lot easier for you. Hey, and welcome to video number 10. This is the last video, so congratulations, you have reached the end of this video series. We're going to be talking about milestones in this specific video. As you know, milestones is an action or event marking a significant stage in development. So as you can see here, we've got Facebook timelines, and this to the far right hand corner, you'll notice that you have the timeline, and with Coca-Cola right now, we're looking at it, we can see that it's dated all the way from the 1800s all the way to 2012. So with milestones, you can add stuff to your history to let your visitors and prospects know more about your company. So here's some recommendations that we can make to help you create a good Facebook timeline. Facebook will organize your older posts in a timeline. So in other words, if you move from the old Facebook pages to the Facebook timeline, they're going to take all of your posts that disappeared over time and put them in a timeline. So be sure to delete any posts that you don't want in your record. For example, that includes negative comments or situations that you don't want to come out again. Milestones. So what kind of milestones can you put inside your Facebook timeline? Well, you can tell a story about your company, about your cause, about something that happened in your company, that changed your company, that changed the direction of your company, and so forth. The more people that know about your story, your history, the more that they feel at ease once they know you. It's kind of like you know a person. The more you know about their background and where they come from and their vision and who they are and why they became who they are, then you become at ease and you feel like you know them better. So milestones allow you to add past events that are part of the history of your organization. The tip is to begin to add milestones to your history, from why you started to when you started to what events took place to why you took certain actions, why you added a specific product. However, at the same time, you want to try to stick with neat facts that your prospects will find interesting. Remember that it is too easy to begin talking about yourself and get into this mode. But be careful not to overdo it, otherwise you'll lose a fan's interest.